I'm Dr Emma Vickers. I'm a senior lecturer in history at Liverpool Don Moores University. I am an academic advisor to the National Festival of LGBT History. So I talk about Queen and Country, which is about same-sex desire during the Second World War, and I also talk about cross-dressing as entertainment during the Second World War. And I think we need to show positive examples to our kids and our schools and the people of Shrewsbury and Shropshire that LGBTI people exist, and we're here and we have a history, and it's visibility combats prejudice, and the more visible we are, the better. So there is lots of benefits and no negatives to having an event here. It's it's a marvellous place. Like, I just love it here. You wander around going, oh, it's so beautiful here, and it really is. And it's even more beautiful that you're one of the hubs this year. It's cool. It's very cool. I do think that the LGBT community themselves can learn a lot from their own history, and in terms of them, I think it's about having a positive role models from the past and being able to look at the past and say, I have existed in some form over the course of however many centuries. And some historians are sniffy about the fact that we want to locate that identity over past centuries, but I am not one of those historians. I want kind of people to feel that they can access their history, it's open to them, and if they want to look for role models in the past, then they should. It's important. We can progress and we can also go backwards, and it can turn on a sixpence in terms of going backwards. And I feel like the conservative government in some ways is sending us backwards, so we need to be really kind of hyper vigilant. So do I think we're doing enough? No. They're cutting funding left, right and centre. Most recently, the most recent one I've been made aware of is Broken Rainbow, which is a charity for LGBT domestic violence. They're about to lose their funding, and they will no longer exist in about 6 weeks unless they find an alternative source. So it's stuff like that that's really irritating. More than irritating, it makes me angry. No, it's important to be visible and to march and to show a bit of strength on the streets. Yeah, when I was a trustee for Liverpool Pride, I made a point of making sure in the kind of annual magazine that I wrote a kind of write-up on the history of Pride marches and where it came from, and the fact that I wrote about Stonewall and the fact that it had been started by a drag king. She had thrown the first punch, and we forget when we go to these celebrations where it all started from and what the purpose of it is. And I think Liverpool Pride is doing a good job this year because it's going back to what it means. It's going back to the march rather than the stuff that pads around it. So I would kind of encourage every other Pride organiser to go back to the origins and to the roots, and to think about why are we doing this. It's about visibility and political activism and making change. It's not about commercial enterprise.